then I got into all clarinet because it was too much, man. I was in the honors program, 22 and a half hours. That's what I carried my freshman year. It was too much, man. I was working, and I couldn't. So I got out of that. I said, I'm a major in clarinet, man.
Do one or the other.
But the whole idea, though, it was a nice thing. It was good. Dolly was my mentor. And look, let me tell you, man, she looked out for me. And the thing that taught me one lesson at Dolly, and I have the rest of my life. I was a freshman.
Okay.
And I'd go to clarinet class. And I said, Dr. Robert, look, I have had time to practice like I said. Now, she said, okay. This is nice, man. Cordial. So when the midterm grades came out, I had a C. and I went to her. I said, Dr. Robinson. She said, yeah, what's the problem? She said, I thought that's what you wanted. You know what I'm saying? I said, what? She said, I thought that's what you said. You're a better student than this. And I gave you what you deserve. She said, but now if you want better grade, you got to do better. She said, this is your decision to do this. I didn't put you in this. You decide you want to major in music, and it takes this to major in music here.
Yes, sir.
If you're going to major in music and do this thing, you won't care what else you doing. See, I had choir rehearsal and band rehearsal. You understand, man?
She did me the same. She did the same thing.
God, man, I was I was the first time male soloist as a freshman.
Okay.
In Messiah at Christmas. I was the first one. And I didn't believe that, man. I said, look, Dr. Roberts, she said, you do all right. No, but you have to do this.
You got to do
so
it.
You have to make a decision. And, man, see, Dr. Henry was the chairman of the department.
Oh, yeah. Miss Nara's husband, first husband. Yeah, my mom told me about it.
And, man, look, he was something else. Look, he was Henry at the time was one of the few box specialists in the country.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was recognized as being one of the few box specialists.
Wow.
In the country. They didn't have a lot of them. He was at Indiana. He was considered to be one of the top specialists in box.
So he was a Baroque man.
He was bad, man.
Yeah. Well, look, let me do this. We can go ahead and get started.
Okay.
I've got the camera here. You are.
The phone and the ring is off. I'm gonna go in the back and try not to disturb.
No, you're more than welcome to come on in this conversation.
And if you need more water, it's refrigerator.
Thank you, ma'am. But you're more than welcome. I'd love to have you here.
We're trying to get some stuff together. We got to move some things around. I didn't do like I should have. I'm through with this after thing. I took every book, everything I had, I brought here.
But I told him again yesterday.
She said, you're going to have to do something about this.
No, but I said the one thing he needs to do, and he's going to need some help with, match his chart. He has all his charts. Match his charts with all these videotapes and 16mm films and all the instructions and everything. Somebody can make use of that.
She telling you the truth. You know that, right? You know that. As a
Yeah,
matter of fact, to catalog that would be to institutionalize your legacy, my brother.
So, but he's gonna need. I can't do it.
Yeah, because he probably the only one that know the code. He's the one that know the code.
Need some help.
How about Haughton? Is Haughton able to help you with that?
No, Haughton never did get into that. See, that was the thing that
was Dow's.
Dow took a different approach.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? They both were right in good arrangements, but Dow took a different approach to it. See, because I always tell Dow, look, man, as good as Davis was, and Davis was the best as far as I'm concerned, he never got the recognition because he always had somebody else doing that field work. And see, people will remember what you do in marching band. They will remember what you do.
Right.
But they don't remember a song. Now you went to the University of Texas, and sometimes people can tell you some things. I saw the University of Texas in Austin. That's right. I saw Texas A&M, Texas. What is it? School, the private school.
TCU, Texas Christian.
It wasn't, no, it was Wasn't
Baylor?
Wasn't Baylor either.
Houston Tillotson?
Oh no, this is white school.
Oh,
Major
white.
school.
Oh, Rice?
Methodist, yeah, what it?
SMU, Southern Methodist
Maybe
University.
it was SMU.
Okay.
Anyway, what happened was, see, when we left out of there, nobody, but they could play. Everybody could play.
Mm-hmm.
But and they had it set up, man. So they sent videos out. University of Texas sent videos out to the new folk coming in. When I was band director in Alabama, they sent videos to the new band members coming in.
Mm.
And I saw the video.
Mm-hmm.
This is the way we march. Yeah. This is the way we march, and this is what. And so when they came, the band came, either they were ready or they weren't. It wasn't no, that man and I said, man, how much money do you all spend with this stuff? And then they took me inside the band area, and Prairie View incorporated a lot of things in that new band building, that they built. They built that the year I left.
What year did you leave?
70 what?
79?
No, it was 70, early 70. I spent 13 years there. I could say 71, something like that. Because right after I graduated,
All right.
last year.
So 71, 13 would be 84?
Yeah.
So you
And
came
I
up here in
came up
84.
here in 82.
You came up here in 82.
82. It was
84.
84. Oh, you right.
Okay.
You right on. I'm
Yeah.
getting these dates mixed
Yeah,
up.
that's all right. But let me do something.
Mm-hmm.
I want to just go ahead and formally start and let everybody know that we are sitting here today with Mr. Harold Haughton, who was the band director at Jackson State University when we were there as Wind Chimes, and he has finished his career in academia as the chairman emeritus of the Virginia State University Music Department. And here he is. We're in his home today. He's welcomed us in here. I'm here with Dr. Christopher Brooks of Virginia Commonwealth University, and we're just going to have a conversation with Mr. Haughton so he can tell us something that we need to know. I'm Bo, and I'm just letting you know. Mr. Haughton?
Yes, sir.
The floor is yours. So just tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Mr. Harold Haughton? Where'd you come from? What's your story?
Let me say, I was born in Canton, Mississippi,
Yes.
to Annie Mae McMurtry and Gilbert Roy Haughton. My father was from Louisiana.
Okay.
My mother was from Mississippi, Madison County, Mississippi. And they met when my mother was going to Jackson State, then Jackson College.
That's right.
And my father was going to Campbell College, which was right across the street. But my father was a minister, young minister.
So you're a PK.
Yeah.
You're a preacher's kid.
Yes. And so my father and mother got married. I'm the second child. I'm not the first child. I'm the second child.
Okay.
My brother is James. He was a year and a half older than me. And we lived in Jackson. And then the bishop, like they do, African Methodist Episcopal ministers, they move you. So we moved my father to Mansfield, Louisiana. And this is where my education started, in Mansfield. The principal in Mansfield had a thing he did every year. He would take to encourage kids to go to school. You know how it is. Some kids just don't go to school at times. Mm-hmm. And during that time, we talking about 1940s and the 1940s. He had this idea that if one day the siblings would bring some of their siblings to school and see go to class for one day, how it works and functions, they'd be encouraged to go to school.
Okay.
So my brother took me to school. Okay.
Now let me ask you something right quick on that. What year were you born, Mr. Haughton?
1939.
You were 39. All right.
And and my mother told me not to be talking and stuff. I talked a lot, I guess. But only thing about it, she said, don't you be talking, class. You pay attention. So, but she forgot to tell me I could participate in that, but not to answer questions.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yeah.
And I remember like it was yesterday.
Okay.
The class is going on. See, my brother was, when my brother was being school, my mother was a teacher.
Okay.
That she would, I would be in there, and so I ended up doing the same things he was doing. Nobody paid any attention to it, but he was in the second grade, and he was doing stuff. Whatever he was doing, I was learning to do. It wasn't that I was all that brilliant. It was that I was exposed to math and reading all that stuff at 4 years old.
All right.
Right? So,
Yes, sir.
so I raised my hand and I could answer the questions the teacher was asking. And so she disbanded and went to the principal's office and brought him down and said, "Look, here's a kid here, and we need to do something about it. Because there's no sense in him doing second grade work and sitting at home." So there was another kid across town named Isaiah Morris. Same situation. So they told my mother that I need to go to school. No need of me sitting home. But my mother, in her wisdom, she said, "What are we talking about here?" She said, "Well, we'll start." And when she said, "No, he won't be in the second grade. I don't care how much he knows." She said, "Now let him go to school if you put him in the first grade." And that's how I started school at 4. And and I was always the youngest kid in class. I know when we were living in Baton Rouge and the state had started to teach black kids in Louisiana half day.
Mm-hmm.
I was there when all that happened.
Oh, wow.
They had, in other words, you could go, there's a split shift. One group started at 7 in the morning. I was in that first group, the morning group.
Mm-hmm.
Then the rest of the kids started at, was it 1 o'clock? Something like that. Next session for other kids started in the evenings. So there were always 2 split. My mother didn't buy into that. She said, "No,
Okay.
he can't learn like that." No. And then this morning session was always different from the evening session.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? The teaching, the real teaching went on in the morning.
In the morning when everybody was still.
Yeah, in the evening session, those kids were being robbed.
Okay.
Of as far as I'm concerned, and it was a known factor.
Okay.
Being robbed. See, so
Now you said something about your family, and this is, I guess, now in Louisiana, where you said you got over there. Tell me a little bit about them, and was there, back in them days, a lot of us had people in our family that were of different ethnic persuasions.
well,
Yeah, you look like you might be a little Creole there,
Oh
Doc.
yeah. Well, the best way I can say, my grandmother was blonde, blue-eyed.
Whoa.
Yeah, and her father, my aunt, I met him with the sheriff of whatever parish that was, Tanker Parish or something down in Louisiana. That's that area where the pirates function. The real pirates.
The real.
Yeah. And my grandfather passed, so we went to the funeral. In Louisiana, they had these special. It's like a ceremonial kind of thing. The wakes they have. All the churches in the area participate. The wake starts at dusk when the sun goes down, and it lasts until the morning when the sun comes up. So we were living in New Orleans. My father was a minister in New Orleans. And I had never seen anything like this. But we were like little kids would do. We were out for cousins and everybody. We were out for the funeral, but we weren't in that world. My grandfather died, and we loved our grandfather, but we were kids, so we were playing, stuff around the church, and this bearded white guy shows up. He says he wanted. My father's name was Gilbert, so he wanted to see Gilbert's kids born. And little boys want to know why he want to see us. We don't know him. And that's when we found out that he was our grandfather.
Wow.
And he was a white guy, bearded, and my grandmother's father.
Wow.
And then on my mother's side, my grandmother was part. I'm not certain, and this is but it's Chickasaw or Choctaw Indians in Mississippi. And she's the one on that pitch upstairs. If you come in with the long flat, right?
Oh, okay.
That's my grandmother.
Okay.
And the Davis, the guy who did it out in California, he is sold. I forgot him thousands of that print. I had it, what's it called, in that first group, the Thursday. What I have a print, one of the original prints. That's the one upstairs. It's numbered and signed, you know. And when I got here and got it framed, the guy was trying to buy it. It's not for sale. You understand what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir.
But she was Indian with all these Indian ways. You know, she was at least she was black, but she was this Indian. She'd been brought up somehow. I don't know all the details, but she would do medicine. She would cook food. That she'd go out in the yard, and there was some certain things that she would eat, and she would cook, and they would be good. But certain things she wouldn't touch. She knew about all these medicines and things.
That's now look.
Yeah.
Did you learn any of that from? And so that meant that y'all were kind of agriculture. Y'all were kind of agrarian people. And did you bring it down with you? Some of that knowledge about some of the roots and herbs and
only thing I remember about that is is it elderberry? It has they're not clustered like grapes, but they are clusters.
Okay.
And they're green when then they turn purple. And they grow wild, you know. And that was my grandmother would tell us this is edible as long as it's green, but don't touch this stuff after it turns purple.
Okay.
So and they would actually cook. That's my grandmother would cook it. She would fix she fixed a thing, liniment that would take the pain out, but you couldn't rub it on you. You had to pat it on you because it would take your skin off. It was made out of kerosene. I remember the phone. Kerosene. Let me see what it is. Kerosene, pine needles, and a flower called bitterweed. It looks like a little, like a daisy.
You had to boil it, right?
Yeah, but it's tiny. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir.
So she take it and put it in there in a quart jar, and it was set. Then and that's how. See, we didn't mind to go to those drugs. There was no drugstore in that area where they were living. No drugstore that I know of. But my grandmother would take that stuff and pat it on you, and then she would. Every grandchild that was within her reach, every year before we went to school, she gave us a potion. And we didn't have colds like other kids. I don't know what it was, but we didn't have, she was a tea she always made.
Right.
And we did not have colds like the other kids in school. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And basically, I don't know a lot about my father's as much as my father's people, except when I was in New Orleans going to school. Is it the Roosevelt Hotel in New Orleans?
I believe it is Roosevelt.
It's an old hotel, but it was one of the fancy ones. But my grandfather was cooking on television in the 1950s, but he did not reap the benefits. He was cooking. And the white sponsor of the show, the television show, was the one who reaped the benefits, not him. You understand what I'm saying? He was doing the cooking on camera. He was doing all these things, but he wasn't, they always acknowledged him, but that was it.
That was it.
And so Mark Henry, he was a cook at the Roosevelt, he was a chef at the Roosevelt Hotel. And now, other than that, I know my grandfather was a minister. I had two uncles that were ministers. One was a Baptist minister, the one I was named after. Harold, he was Baptist minister. My father and my uncle Samuel were AME ministers. My grandfather was a Baptist preacher. But I asked my dad, why did he, go into that? He said, well, during that time, he said, it was organized. AME church was organized. They had this hierarchy. It was just like the Episcopal Church. It was organized, and the bishops and all this stuff. And so that worked. Only thing that my identity with the AME Church. I was the first male president of YPD, Young People's Department at AME Church. Has a connection to things all the way over the world. You know, when I was that president, I was elected in Detroit. First male president they ever had. It was supposed to be exclusively female, look like. And I challenged it in the you know, at the convention in Detroit as to why I can be president of my church, president of the local district, and everything, and Episcopal. But when it comes back, that's the limit. So that you know, you put a ceiling. And I want to know why is it that what keeps me from being president, connection president?
What year was that?
1959.
Okay.
1959.
All right.
And so as a result, I won, but they tried to set me up, Morris. You know,
Okay.
you know, they tried to keep me from being what you call confirmed. You know, there's a confirmation ceremony. And I was with my uncles. My uncle lived in Detroit, and I was living with them while I was at the convention.
All right.
And you know, and I'm sitting at home at their place, and I was uneasy.
Okay.
And I told my aunt, I said, look, I think I need to go back to the site of the convention. I said, I don't feel right. Something's not right. And what happened was, my uncle, a city cab in Detroit, my uncle owns, by the way. He did. He's passed now. But I didn't realize my uncle was one of the major owners of city cab in Detroit. So I could, any transportation I need, all I had to do was call. And they take me anywhere I had to go. So I called. I said, look, I need to go to the side. It took me, so we take it.
And this is about when you were 20 years old?
Yeah. And when I walked in the door, man, the convention erupted, like, because I didn't know. I just figured they were getting ready to confirm folk without me.
Okay.
I'm the president now.
Okay.
Because they didn't want me to be president.
All right.
A girl out of Florida, they had picked to be. But the thing about it, kids are funny, man. That's why it's so dangerous about this new election coming. They're talking in the morning on the news. Kids do what they think is right most of the time. Even though, you know, and we rewrote the concept, the discipline, and as far as payment in the AME Church.
Right.
I was president and was part of it. And there's a lady who was over us, and she was getting ready to retire. She was starting to, you know, going to Alzheimer's and, you know, stuff like that. But she had been there. And they were going to take up a collection. And all this woman has done is work for the AME Church in this capacity. And so I asked for, as president of whoever, they asked for a meeting with the Bishop's Council. They were always too busy. It's okay. So that evening, so I called a meeting. And I told the kids, if you ever get together, we need to do it now. I said, our president over us, our supervisor, is getting ready to retire. And the AME Church has made no preparation for retire. What's she supposed to do? How's she supposed to live? So I tell you what, I said, I've been trying to meet with the bishops and the Bishops' Council, and I haven't been, you know, and I know they're busy, but, you know, but I think they should take time to do something about this. And I said, look, this is what I want you to do. You know, it's just like the Republican convention. You know, everybody's sitting in certain areas with signs, you know, about who they are. So I organized it so that the kids from Mississippi, well, this is St. Louis, way on the other side. They didn't know a soul from St. Louis. The St. Louis kids were over here by the Mississippi folk. They didn't know anybody in Mississippi, so there's no way to communicate. So at 11 o'clock, give me that time, you know, we like to eat. At 11 o'clock, I had the kids go down the aisles in St. Louis, Kiel Auditorium, St. Louis, and line up in those aisles. They're like sardines. They couldn't move if they wanted to. It was getting time to eat. And don't make no noise, don't talk, don't do it. So they packed the aisles. People couldn't get out. Nobody could get out.
Okay.
So the bishop said, the presiding bishop said, I told y'all this is gonna happen. These boys, putting these boys in this.
Putting them in leadership. That's
So I
why.
said, all the what you want? I said, sir, we have been trying to meet with you. I said, Mrs. Pope, Miss Pope, is over the connection to YPD, elected, and she's getting ready to retire. But the AME Church has made no preparation for her retirement. How's she supposed to live? She's been doing this church thing since most of her life, and now all of a sudden you're gonna take up a collection and say thank you. That's not good enough. We want Mrs. Alma Pope to have a pension, a monthly pension, and since everybody's here, we're not leaving until it's done.
Whoa!
Look here, look.
See, so
man, look here.
I wasn't the first.
They passed that resolution, man. Let me tell you, passed that resolution. Alma Pope, until she passed, had a pension from the AME Church to sustain her the rest of her life. But then I said, and when they did it, Haughton, is that good? Yes, sir. Thank you. And we left.
Wow. So this is you 20 years old. You're in college now. All this happened.
No, I finished college.
You finished college?
Yeah, just finished college.
All right, and that was in Detroit.
And that was in Detroit. St. Louis. At Kiel Auditorium, St. Louis. They met
but
that.
This might be a good segue to get into when now I'm getting to know Mr. Haughton. So, how did you get to Jackson State? And talk to us a little bit about what that experience was.
All right. When I was in New Orleans, they were starting music. And music has always been part of New Orleans. It's always been that thing in New Orleans in music. So when I went to a school in uptown New Orleans called McDonald No. 6. McDonald had a school system, a public school system, that he took his money. He was a billionaire. Took his money and provided schools like the Rosenwald Foundation and stuff like that. But anyway, he built schools for black folk. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
High schools and elementary schools. And they always had a number, and my school was McDonald No. 6. That was the school where the lawyer's kid. Now, there were rules about, you went to school in your neighborhood. Not McDonald No. 6. McDonald No. 6 was one of these elite, just like the white folk. Right? Elite schools. We had a band. Now, they had a drum and bugle corps before I got there. But the first band, public school band, I was in New Orleans. I was in that band. Okay. And I ended up being a drum major before I left.
Oh, really? And this is in New Orleans?
Yeah.
You went to high school in New Orleans?
No, I didn't go to high school. We talking about middle school and elementary school.
Get out.
They didn't have.
Okay.
So what happened was, we had to compete with the Catholic schools. Catholic schools was always supposed to be advanced over us, academically,
right,
and everything else. And Blessed Sacrament was in our neighborhood, but it wasn't so with us. Man, we were, academically, we were up here because we had all the teachers and the kids and the doctors' kids and the lawyers' kids going. They don't know where they live in New Orleans. They went to number 6. Okay. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So they had all kinds of things. The choir was good. They had a choir and all that stuff. And McDonald No. 6. We used to go always to and we really we must have been very good because we were always invited to John McDonald Day. Everybody in New Orleans was required to go to John McDonald Day. All the schools had to have bands or whatever they had over there. So we went in there and we'd always show out like, a guy named Solomon Spencer from Alabama State. He was a band director. And he was at Walter Cohen High School too. But my brother went to high school because he was older. But when I got to be 9th grade, my father was moved to Mississippi.
All right.
But the whole idea of music was a good, it was a thing, man. And more band directors came out of that band. They all over the country.
Okay.
Band directors came. Southern was Southern Grambling.
From out of number
I was
6,
the one who went to Mississippi. And tell you why I went to Mississippi.
Go ahead.
I was Mississippi had a all-state band, and every I had just gotten there from New Orleans. But anyway, I made all-state band in Mississippi for 4 years in a row. That's
Wow.
all you can go on for that. Anyway, after he joined the band, where Jack State always played. I heard Xavier and Southern Grambling play. I never heard a band play like that. I mean, really, I was just amazed. I never heard black folk play like that. Not like these kids are playing, man. That was Mr. Davis's band, man.
Rock
Man.
Davis.
I mean, and I said,
It's just for the people who may not know who we talking about. Tell them a little bit about who. When you said Davis and Prof, we know. I know you talking about Prof.
Mr. Davis was from Arlington, Ohio. He got his master. He got his undergraduate degree at Alabama State. He was a member of the Alabama State Collegians, who went all over the country playing. They were jazz band. They were tight, man. They most of them, and they were really like professionals.
Okay.
And Davis was a trumpet player. Davis was the solo trumpet player for Cab Calloway. And I think he got sick or something. I don't know how he got to Mississippi. I still can't figure out how he come. You know, he's playing out one of the best trumpet players in the country, and he's an arranger, and he comes from Mississippi. Mr. President Reddick, Jacob L. Reddick, somehow made contact and brought Davis to Mississippi. The best thing that anybody's ever done from Mississippi in the country. So Davis came in, and Davis had all these different ideas, about how music ought to sound. He was professional, consummate professional. He was tough, man. When he played, man, you listened, because he was so different from everybody else. Advanced over everybody, And that's the same time that he was there. At the same time Ella Fitzgerald was singing with Cal. So they got to be friends. And the whole thing about Davis had another expectation. He didn't buy on that you could not do. All he wanted to do was do. And he did not bite his tongue, about what he expected from you. And he would be quick to tell you, I can't use you. Maybe you can go somewhere else. I mean, he was,
So Prof was, and this was during the 30s. When did he play with Cab?
I don't know. I can't tell you.
Okay.
The dates. But he was, man.
Yeah.
Whoo, he could play.
As a writer,
yeah,
you
and
would
oh
have
man,
had to see.
he
You
was
would have
something.
had to hear.
So he brought all that to Jackson State. See,
Okay.
He didn't back up. He brought the band up to him.
Mm-hmm.
That's the point I'm making.
Okay.
He brought the band, the thing, and David said, Dolly Robbins, who ended up being the chairman and everything else, Dolly would believe that she just, this don't have to be in Ohio. What's it? She just believed that Mississippians could do anything anybody else could do. So what is this? So President Reddick knew about Dolly. She was at Brookhaven. And Brookhaven had a band, man. God, man. Man, in most places, the white band has all the things, but in Brookhaven, it was the other way around.
Wow.
The black school had the best band. Best, man, they were tight, man.
Okay.
So Reddick's on his own hired Dolly for and gave it Dolly. Gave Davis Dolly as an assistant.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
All right.
Dolly was tight, man. So she organized the band. She was the one who did the organization of it. And as a result, they got the academic side was Dolly. And Dolly, see, Davis had never been around from Arlington, Ohio. He had never been around a lot of us. You understand where I'm coming from?
I'm with you. He didn't look like one of us.
No. See, everybody thought we had a white band director.
Yeah.
And Davis, and he was, so Dolly, when I was his assistant, same thing, he just wouldn't take on the play. Because he just thought that maybe that was out of our league. And I said, we got the same horns, man. What is this? And you know, and that's some things, and some things he wouldn't play.
Okay.
And so I had to play him and conduct him because he wasn't gonna do it.
Right.
And I used to ask, man, why you don't play? We got these fabulous flute players and things, and why we don't play this? You understand what I'm talking about? So Davis, now Davis was the music he was writing was harder than anything we had to play on paper. That's what's crazy about it. He was writing stuff, man. Oh God, man.
So we were trying to get this together here. So
yeah.
You said Dr. Robinson was Prop's assistant.
Yeah.
Did she have her PhD at that time?
No.
All right, so they were both.
She's had a master's degree.
All right, so he was the top dog. She was it.
Yeah.
So when did it get flipped around? When I guess when she went to get that doctor.
Got her second master's degree. Switched around.
Okay.
And they put her over the music bar. And that's when things started changing. Man, look, Dolly, everybody thought Dolly was going crazy, man, with these expectations.
Yes, sir.
And it was written down. It wasn't no word of mouth. It was written down. This is what, if you're going to be in here, this is what you do. Grade-wise, levels.
Yeah.
And Dolly kept saying, no, this is what you do. See, and Dolly was open about it. See, because I remember Lily Fitzgerald. Did you know Fitzgerald?
I knew of her.
She's gifted, man.
Yeah.
She was one of these folks with perfect pitch and all this stuff, and she could really play. She brought a first grade choir to the state teachers, music teachers thing, and we were talking to her. You remember, was Clay still involved?
Yeah.
All right, and Clay asked, we were talking, so Clay said, "Are you bringing somebody here?" Yes, sir. I said, well, what grade? First grade. What she said? Well, we gonna be singing the regular music. She said, but you said first grade. She said, yeah. They told her that first graders don't sing parts. First graders don't sing parts even today.
That's right.
Not first graders.
That's right.
But Lily's choir was singing first grade parts. Do you hear what I'm saying? And everybody at the state teachers meeting said, what? This does not happen. But Lily ended up in Chicago. Then she went to Atlanta where she stayed. But Lily, one of those, and Lily just said, y'all taught me this, now you're going to tell me I'm not supposed to be doing it. But man, you talking about a choir singing. Yeah. First graders, man. And I was just amazed. But Lily
so
was one of those products that came out of that thing with Dolly. And Dolly didn't play about it. Dolly's won all kinds of awards, Mississippi awards, and national awards. Tau Beta Sigma, she was the Woman of the Year at Tau Beta Sigma. The year that I was over at Tau Beta Sigma.
Yeah, y'all got that after I left.
And I told him, so I said, there's nothing to say that you can't put her name in. Put it in. And that's the year that Dolly won that national award, man. The big plaque thing, bowler. Yeah, that's the year Dolly won that award.
So how was your relationship with Dolly, Dr. Robinson?
That was, well, I was Dolly's boy, they said.
How did Dr. James handle that?
Yeah, he didn't handle that.
I bet you.
I bet you he didn't handle that too good. Yeah. Dolly was. I listened to Dolly. Okay. After that incident I told you about that.
Yeah. Got the C grade. Yeah.
She's told me and Dolly always looked out for me. Told me what and I followed what she said. I believe Dolly was a special person. But the music part was Dolly's life. She had, what I'm saying, that was it. Like in some churches, the minister, everything is secondary, but that church.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
But that church and its function and its relationship to the community and everything. That's where Dolly was with that music part.
Yeah, she was.
And she didn't play. She had faculty members, total line.
I I watch y'all.
Dolly was like that. And
Yeah.
see, Dolly was, you had to respect her.
Mm-hmm.
Because when she bring those symphony players in from the Mississippi Symphony, you know, they thought that they were, I don't know who they thought they were dealing with. When they got over there, they found out they were something else, man, dealing with Dolly Robinson. But she was nice, though. She was just as cordial to everybody.
Soft
But everybody listened to what Dolly said because Dolly didn't play. And so,
where did you, what is it? Where did you meet Dr. Robinson?
when I was in All-State Band. I used to
Okay.
come to All-State Band.
All right.
And but the main
Is
time
that in
I
high
met
school?
her
When
when
you
I
was in
got
high
to
school?
Jackson State in 1956.
All right, 56.
1956. And I was a freshman in Jackson State, 1956.
Okay.
And the thing about it is that it was, Jackson State was a whole new experience for me, see. Because I was telling my wife the other day, there was some band of her, and we just didn't know. I'm being honest with you. I don't know what my band rep was saying, but we used to play Dixie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you loud and
With
clear.
black school.
When I got to Jackson, a whole lot of people with blacks in were playing Dixie.
Yeah,
Yes,
and I'm saying, what is this? See, I never, as a band rep, I never would play Dixie. But shoot, man, we played Dixie in high school. You understand what I'm saying?
I know.
And that was a part of it. But then but Dolly was a scholar. She was articulate. She was something else. And she took me under her wing, man. I'm being honest with you. She took me under her wing. And when I went to Jackson State to work, I don't know who they were considering, but you know, the alumni met when they told us they were going to think about selecting me to be
The band director.
band,
Because they had
other folk in mind.
They had to make a special choice to come after Prof. Whoever was gonna fill that spot after him had to be somebody.
But see, Prof was one of the reasons I was there. See, what happened was when I left Jackson State, let me tell you, it started my senior year.
Okay.
The guy named Laverne Arnold. I think Laverne ended up teaching. He's from Greenwood. He ended up teaching in Chicago.
All right.
We were getting ready to play Tennessee State. See, I was always watching bands, Ohio State and Michigan State. Michigan State was my favorite band.
Okay.
And all the drills and things they were doing. And I was studying them. So we got ready to go to Tennessee State, and they couldn't figure out how to get us off the field. We had a great show. But just to walk off the field after all that we had done just didn't fit right. Mm-hmm. And so we went band practice. And Prof said, we got to do something about this ending on this show. So Laverne said, well, let Harold, what you mean let Harold do? He said, yeah, he's always doing this stuff, Prof. He said, what? He said, can you do this? I said, yes, sir. I said, I can have something tomorrow. So I brought back an ending that I had created.
Uh-huh.
And David said, you've been able to do this all the time?
Sitting over here.
And we've been around here struggling with this stuff. And he said, I said, yes. I said, well, nobody asked me. I've been in my room, man, I'll be in my room at night.
Yeah.
And, I'm not lying to you. I'd be in my room at night, man, figuring out drills. But
Putting
that
it
all
together.
came from where I started at a high school called Shirley Owens, my first job in Quitman, Mississippi. They was an organized school, man. They were, organized, disciplined. Mm-hmm. And when I went over there, they didn't have a band, no band at all. Mm-hmm. So I started the band. But what I realized was they playing football, but there's no band to do halftime shows. So I went to the principal. I said, look, I had this idea. I'd like to do it for halftime. Since there is a halftime, you don't have a band, do a drill. You have a drill team, girls drill team. Put them in little outfits, and I designed. I said, I'll have to teach percussion. What you gonna do? That's percussion. Now, this is the first time I'm gonna teach somebody about rope. They're gonna have to learn how to read after this. But I have to teach them about rope to get them started. That's how I started drilling, and then I started creating drills. you know, to
Yeah.
for halftime. So I was ahead in my drill stuff.
Yeah.
We're ahead of the music because, and we didn't travel anywhere. We just performed at home.
At home, right.
But I had a girls drill team, 32 girls.
Okay.
And percussion. Percussion stood on the sideline and played while the
While they
girls
did
drilled.
See, I
And
wouldn't
so
even
that's
thought
how I
of
learned how to do the things I'm doing. You know.
the charting.
Yeah, yeah. Because when I got to the band,
Uh-huh.
I was already doing advanced drills.
Okay.
You know, all I had to do was take them over to the band. And the last thing about that, I'm gonna say is I had a good friend in Sammy named Sherman Jackson. He was the first trumpet player from Hattiesburg. We got to the place where we were the only licensed undergraduates in the state of Mississippi to be state judges. We judged state competition as undergraduates. Only one.
Get
two
out.
of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we got paid like the rest of the judges.
That's deep.
Yeah.
Back in that day.
Yes, sir.
So you understand why I said about that was foreign territory for me when I got here. You seeing that kind of stuff going on here? You see what I'm saying? That was back then.
Right. Yeah, but you know, I was blessed. That's all I'm gonna say, man. People.
Yeah.
The principal tolerated me because I was kind of strong here, you know, like because they promised me that they were gonna do certain things if I came and worked there, but it wasn't materialized. So I went to the principal and told him, I said, look, I came here based on what you told me. Now, if you can't do this, there's some other jobs open right now, won't me? And I'll go there because they're going to do what they say they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all are not doing it. And I left school, man. I left and went home, went to where I was living.
Wow.
And I got a call that Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm.
Told me, don't go anywhere. The superintendent said, go down to the music store and get all the stuff you need. But you know, because I told him I don't have to be here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that was kind of unusual. You understand what I'm saying?
Right, especially for that day.
First place, I'm younger than I ought to be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm way ahead of what I'm here, 21 years old, 21, talking about I'm the band director.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the kids said, what? You know, but I was kind of mean though, because I had to be. I had that teacher down Christ the King in Jackson, down the street from Jackson State.
Right.
Says, oh, don't be smiling. Don't be smiling in here. Don't be in here smiling and telling these kids, because you got to be, you know, you young and all that, you got to be mean. That's what she told me.
Yeah.
And it worked for me. You know.
It was good advice. I want to show you something, see if this brings back into memory. So you ever seen this?
Let me see. No, I don't think so.
You don't? Let me show you this. And you notice what's on there, right?
Oh man.
Just for the record,
I
came to Jackson State College. Now I graduated from Jackson State University.
I got you.
We were the ones that changed the C to U.
Yeah.
All right.
Man, look at this.
Okay.
I can't believe this. Man, I can't believe this. Yeah. You know, really, I'm telling you, I can't believe this. Good Lord.
I am
this
showing.
Stuff went back that far?
Yes, sir. I'm showing Mr. Haughton a newsletter of Jackson State College, circa 1973, and one of the feature articles in here is the tuba section.
Yeah.
When I was there, first year, we were there. We were the ones. And there's an article in here talking about you, talking about the music department, the band, the sonic boom. This is how I met Mr. Haughton. If it hadn't been for Mr. Haughton being the band director, giving me a scholarship to come into the music department, there may have never been my participation in Wind Chimes, and just about everybody else in the band who came along and started off with us started in band during 1973. So Mr. Haughton, whether he wants to take responsibility for it or not, he's the one. He's the reason. So we blame you, my brother. But
man, look at this. You know, I did LSU Sugar Bowl.
Okay.
So we were in class, and man, so anybody who can do show I can use would get an automatic A.
Whoa.
and man, shoot, man, look here. I I don't know what year that was, but I did LSU Sugar Bowl show,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, and the thing about it, the man treated. I went to Ole Miss and LSU played in Jackson,
Mm-hmm.
and they put in the paper that they were going to practice at Provine High School in Jackson.
Okay.
Yeah, so
All right.
I went, right?
Uh-huh.
You know, it wasn't nobody over there, but, you know, nobody but me and, you know, the folk in the band and so, and, you know, most of the white kids who were in the Provine band and stuff. So I went over there, and when you know, I'm easy to spot because I got out there and I was on the field, and William Swole was the band director then, and the kids, how kids are, they're not paying attention to him. They should have been, but they were looking over there at me.
Yeah.
What am I doing here?
Yeah,
See?
yeah.
And then he turned around. He got off the podium. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In Jackson, Mississippi, got off the podium and walked over to me, embraced me, and shook my hand. I said, "Man, I'm glad to see you." And he told the assistant band director to take charge. He didn't even go back up there. He just stayed and talk. And the kid said, "Who is this guy?" I used to go to practice sometime, you know, LSU, and watch them practice.
Yeah.
That's how I knew how how bands ought to be. Because they, man, they were tight, man. Look here.
Right. Can I show you something else, Mr. Hard?
Mm-hmm.
Do you recognize this?
Man, look here. You got all that. Oh, Lord, look at this. Dream Merchant.
I'm sharing with Mr. Haughton an arrangement that I did for the marching band, me and one of his frat brothers, Michael Magruder, who is now the chair of the music department at Winston-Salem University. He and I were classmates, and this is an arrangement that we did for the Sonic Boom back in 1975 of a hit song called Dream Merchant. And Mr. Haughton used it one time and say, so got my song in that, Doc. Yeah.
Man.
Remember that, Mr. Hart?
Man, what you talking about? Man, you know, I was thinking, but I used to look at Davis's manuscript.
Yeah. Beautiful.
They didn't look real.
No, man.
It
would look like somebody, it was calligraphy. It was basically calligraphy.
It was unreal, man.
And also, he would write the parts out himself. All of them. I'm sure I got some around the house somewhere.
I have something here somewhere.
I
have them in a box. And look here. I tell you what, to me, one of the most amazing things. I tell you about that Big Three thing.
Yes, sir.
Ellington Portrait, I think is what he called it.
Okay.
A tribute to Ellington one. That he has two arrangements, and they were out of sight. Let me tell you, man. Look here. Look.
That was it.
Woo, man.
That was it.
And but Davis was you know, one of the things that happened, I was willing to change. I think Jackson gave me an opportunity. They gave me the freedom to move. I never forget. We went to Tennessee State, and Tennessee State then was really riding high.
All right.
You understand?
Yeah.
And,
yeah, they were the ones.
Yeah. So we went to Tennessee State, Nashville, and that was when they started really showing co-style bands on television. So I told the band, I said, "Look, this is what I want to do." I said, "I want to do something different." I said, "No, we're going to do our dance routine, but it's going to be a short routine." I said, "I want to lead the field in another way." I said, one in a million. Blake Gaines, the guy he's high school band director in Atlanta. He was in Morehouse. And then he was, you know, he was at Valley up until a few years ago, Mississippi Valley. But I said, I'm gonna do a co-style. They said, "What?" I want to come off the field with a co-style exit. Man, look, and the guy said, "Man, you wrong, man. Why would you come up here and do that?" I said, "Well, we just trying to hang in there and stay in there, you know, survive. That's all we doing."
Yeah.
And look, when they came with that 1 in a million and did that Queen Anne salute at the end, oh man, it was unreal. When the band, half the band came up through the other, we had one solid line, half the band came up through the other part and started the Queen Anne salute. Every other person That's the thing when you come down on one knee. And if you do
Oh,
it gradually,
okay.
man, the folk went crazy. And you know that the same kind of thing happened in Detroit. You know, we started moving a lot. You know,
I was at the
yeah.
Detroit. I
Now
did
the
Detroit.
thing about having that, if people would believe, I really believe that God had part in this. Now, because in no way, I didn't do it. I promise you, I didn't do it. But what happened in Detroit had to be an act of God. That's all I can say. Let me remind you what happened. We had the weather was bad during that time, not too good, all over the country. But we were going to Detroit to perform, and the credit union gave us ponchos, blue and white
Blue and white
ponchos.
ponchos.
Gave
Yeah.
them to us.
Yes,
Took them
sir.
for the Jackson State
Yeah.
Band.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, Mr. Benson, so what we gonna do about these ponchos? You know, it was rain. Tiger Stadium in Detroit. It had rained, and they took the tarpaulin, you know,
Yeah.
left it out there. And then
Yeah.
they took the tarpaulin off. So we don't stop.
Gotta go.
You gotta go.
The show
This
goes
is
on.
professional stuff, and it has to be done. So I said, okay. I told the band, I said, tell you what. I want you to put your ponchos on your shoulder, wrap them around you, take your arms out, put them on your shoulder, and watch me now you all can't see me, but you can see the drum mates. When I drop my hand, push the poncho off your shoulder. And let me tell you what happened, man. This is no lie. When I drop my hand, drum mates, and everybody puts, them things floating to the ground in slow motion. Just like this.
And this is on TV.
This is all this now. And I said, how did you do that? They kept asking me. I said, it was just something we, you know. Man, I'm saying, and so you talking about 100 and some folk with that 128 people. And the cloaks going to the ground in slow motion. In line. See, the band had already lined up.
Mm-hmm.
And the poncho never got out of line. I mean, I'm talking about, and they just floated like this, about this tempo.
It was
man,
good.
so
yeah,
when we came off that field, Tiger Stadium is a circular type. It's a baseball field. So it's time, and as we would get to each section, they were standing
ovation.
And when we got to I see the whole stadium was standing. Then the guy in the Detroit Free Press, the guy told him that what's that announcer name?
Howard Cosell.
Howard Cosell needs to apologize to the country. And that's what this guy wrote in the paper the next day. Because the nation missed the show. He said they missed something that they never will be able to see. He said this band wouldn't let them on. He said Howard Cosell material didn't get on the plane. He didn't have anything. He just ad-libbed the whole halftime talking.
Yeah.
And the guy ripped him apart, man. He said, man, look here. He told me, he said, this is one of the best bands ever been in this place. He said, we've had everybody. Michigan. And so he went on to say, and I said, I'm listening to this guy. I said, what? And I told him, I said, well, thank you. But you know what people didn't know? Band didn't know it.
No.
What that guy, do you know how these porters, it's a dollar a bag. If they move anything, it's a dollar a bag. That's what it costs.
Right.
The bill was $1,600 for move the luggage and the uniform, all that stuff, equipment. And them guys wouldn't take it. The woman said, see, nothing like this has ever happened. I said, I don't think that's right. I said, listen, this is how these guys make their living. I said, for us to take, that's a nice gesture, but that's not, they don't put bread on the table. And do you know the Cadillac Sheridan in Detroit paid them, man? They paid them, gave me the check, take back to Jackson State, and they paid those Bells captains and stuff. They paid them, man. And the guy said, man, what? And the guy asked me, said, man, what happened here? I said, well, no, we got this. He said, man, y'all the best groups that we ever been in this place.
I'm gonna change the subject, but before I do, tell him about, and this happened. You always tell the story about when y'all sung, but I'm gonna tell you about how it happened.
What was
Okay,
this now?
when y'all sung the Lord Bless You
Oh
and
yeah,
Keep You.
Lord bless and keep you. Yeah.
What year was that?
Uh, that was the year I came. Must have been '84.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh huh.
My freshman year, we
No,
were
'83.
All
Cause
right.
it was year, yeah, '83.
We wasn't something we wasn't doing right that day. Mr. Haughton was just pissed off. He said, "Look," he said, "put the horn down and sing your part." And we started. That was Lord Bless You, man. And I mean, we heard ourselves for the first. It blew us away. And then he used that some years later. He actually incorporated that into a show where the band played and then put the horns down and sung the part and blew it away. Blew them away.
Let me tell you how effective it was. Do you remember when the nation was in an uproar about the Marines? Where were they?
In Lebanon.
Lebanon.
Yeah.
When they killed all those Marines in Lebanon.
In the barracks.
Well, we were that same weekend. We were in Hammond, Louisiana. Went over there to play, and I met the guy, band director, and he. I'll be honest with you, I caught on what was happening with him, so I played along and see, we were a black band going into all white, mainly an all white school, and you know everybody knows the visiting band goes on the field first. So he asked me if he couldn't go. He knew what we had, see, but the folk didn't know. He knew. He said, "Man, Haughton," he said, "Man, I don't need to go with luck." He said, "Man, it's gonna be rough enough. I don't care what time I go on the field. If I go on the field after y'all, it's just gonna be a disaster, man." He said, "Well, would you allow me?" I said, "Yeah," because I knew what was gonna happen. So we went Hammond, Louisiana, and that's just a slap in the face, like to put us on the field. And we at that point, and they put us on the field second. The tradition is forever that the visiting band goes on first, and then the home band comes on. Man, all the black folk were pissed off. Man, they were hot. The white folk were ashamed. Do you understand what I'm saying? But I knew what was happening. So my band director, the assistant band, was hot with me, man.
Wow. Oh, man. Mr. Duke.
Yeah,
Mr.
Duke.
Duke.
With me. Man, why you do something? I said, just cool it. Just hold on. And so they decided, okay, we're going to do this. And man, the folk almost booed when they came on the field first. But that's okay. We were ready. When they came on the field, man, we went out there. And at the end, I said, "Ladies and gentlemen, we normally do a dance routine, but in honor and respect for the Marines that lost their lives in Lebanon, we like to do a special piece." Man, I did with them coast-out exits and came when I pulled to the side, and the band put the instrument. They thought we were getting ready to dance. And the band was singing. I told them, "What good part? Just sing your part. Whatever your part is, you sing that. Don't worry about where it is." And man, folk were crying. And, you understand what I'm talking about? Folk were crying, man, and all that kind of stuff. And the guy, next year, the guy said, "Now see, man, that was wrong, man." The guy ended up in Pennsylvania, band director next year. He wasn't even there anymore. He said, "Haughton," he said, "Man, why you do this to me? We supposed to play." I said, "Man, look, you asked me, I didn't ask you to go on the field first."
Mr. Haughton had his motto was, he said, when we go in there, he said, "You go in that stadium like you own it." And he said, if you see that there's any, he said, when you got a net down, you hit him with a sludge hammer.
You don't just pat it.
Yeah. So when you got a net down.
My idea, really, I thought that.
You got the good. A net, yeah. All right, so let me get to, talk a little bit about how you see yourself having impacted the lives of so many, particularly wind chimes for us. I'm doing this for the fellas so they can see. How have you seen yourself impact us, and how do we come together like this?
But let me tell you, I was a wind chimes fan long before I got in it, connected to wind chimes. You know, reading in the paper about the RCA signing wind chance to this contract. Man,
Yes,
I
sir.
was proud of something. I ain't nothing to do with that.
Yes, you did.
You know what I'm saying? But I said, and I'm sitting up here, man. I'm listening to these, man. I said, listen, boy, y'all be smoking. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I'm saying, good Lord, man. Like, and What's Garman told me about the studio experience in Atlanta.
Yes, sir.
You know how they set a record studio time of lack of use
Yeah,
at
yeah.
a studio, recording studio, because you didn't have to go over anything a second time. And I'm saying, and all this was in the paper about the experience with Lasama. And so I don't know if it was you or somebody came to me one day. Somebody said the guy told us, said in Atlanta, that we're doing fine, but we need some refinement.
That was me. Yeah.
And with this vocal stuff.
Vocal.
And he said, and said you need that. That's the only thing that's missing. So when I thought y'all were joking, he came to me and the guy from Maria, you know that
John.
drummer, who was not John, the guy who was the drummer. John was doing keyboards.
Jimmy Graham.
Jimmy Graham.
Jimmy Graham. Yeah, yeah.
Jimmy said, man, how you get, you don't, why you guys so hung up on you with this stuff?
Mm-hmm.
I said, you asking the wrong question. I said, all right. And when we got through with that, so he had a house over near the zoo. And I said,
Parkside.
I'm going to, I said, yeah, I'll come over. So I went over and listened. And I was telling him about things they should do. See, half the words that Stevie Wonder was saying, you couldn't understand what the hell he was saying. And I said, if y'all would do this, get this word, it'll give you an edge on every group that's basically out there. Not every group, but all the groups is out there, because people be able to understand what you're saying, and then they be singing your songs. Here's the thing, but they can't understand the words. Hell, they can't imitate you.
That's
So
right.
I started. So that night, man, the rehearsal went so well, man. I couldn't believe it. Good Lord, boy. And one of the proudest things in my life, this is not having in the back, is when that album came out.
Oh, God bless you.
And at the bottom of my name is vocal cord. Man, I felt like a million. Let me tell you, you can't understand how good I felt about that. You know, about this, just that little line at the bottom. And I showed some folks. Folks said, what? But the original music to me was beautiful. It was stuff I could say. I used a lot of wind chime stuff in my shows at the Virginia State. Man, look, like when the girls would come up, the dancers.
Yeah.
I would hear Pretty Girls Everywhere.
Yes,
Shoot,
sir.
Man, look, I used that because it was right into what I was doing.
Okay.
There were a lot of things, songs that wind chimes did were just to life.
All right.
You understand what I'm talking
about? I do now.
And it was always good stuff. I mean, I'm talking about, man, guys singing, man, guys on pitch, man, guys singing. It was great. I enjoyed wind chimes. I'm going to tell you right now, wind chimes made me a better musician, see. Because I didn't realize all that talent was in the band in Jackson State. See, I didn't know.
Wow.
You know, and then I'm looking at these guys. I said, man, all these guys, except for Graham, came through the band in Jackson State.
Students,
you know what I'm saying? That's quite something. The next only time that happened again was at Virginia State.
And you know, let me ask this right quick, because you told me something last night I think needs to be shared. Tell me about the ending, that transition from Jackson State coming here, and what you told me about having to go before the legislature with some issues that you had.
Well, you know, I've always, because my father was a civil rights, enthusiast. He was always into things with, and this is real stuff. I mean, I'm talking about, he was, see, I talked to Bobby Kennedy on the telephone. See, I talked to him.
All right.
And because what happened, they had, there's a national news broadcast. They were showing on the national news in a segment that showed about the civil rights thing. They were going down Dalton Street. There's a little girl, black girl, on her porch, watching. Wasn't doing anything, but just watching the procession. And this white policeman went out of the street and kicked this little girl. And the cameras never did stop rolling. So on the news, it was there.
Mm-hmm.
They showed him.
Mm-hmm.
Showed him. And they showed him from the time he left the street. He wasn't provoked. He was provoked, but the little girl had, and he kicked his child, and the little girl was crying. So that night he came up. See, bad now, he's emboldened to do other kinds of things. So he came up to in front of the Masonic Temple.
In Jackson, Mississippi.
And they knew who he was because he was on television.
He had been on TV.
And when he got out when they got out in front of the Masonic Temple, bold, they parked right in front, man. Deep in the black neighborhood. And he got out, when they got the black guys came out from the corners of the building and across both sides, surrounded. They told him, don't touch that radio, don't you say a word. No. Man, they rocked that car like a cradle. Do you hear me? You seen this something, but not something just like, and they were inside and said, and don't even think about it. If you touch anything in this time, you dead. So they are, and he's a grown man crying, man. Listen, you hear what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So they called. I was in the Civil Rights Museum in Jackson. There's a picture of my father with a minister called R.L.T. Smith. He was at one of the Methodist churches. Mm-hmm. And they called him and told him, they said, they about to kill these guys, man. Said, you all need to come. You need to come now. And he went down there and they didn't listen to him. So they called my father. My father went down there and said, look, this is exactly what white folk want you to do. They got to have some reason to come and do things devastating the police to a black neighborhood. And this is going to give them the license to come in. If you kill these folk or do anything to them, that's going to give them license to come in. Just they don't have to worry about how they do it. Just do it. Come in and waste, and we're going to, you mean to tell me you're going to put a whole, sacrifice a whole neighborhood for two folks? My dad was telling me. He said, don't think about what you're doing. And they let him go. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. My dad said, it's Reverend Haughton. Okay, what you have to say? They wouldn't even listen to Smith.
All right.
But they listened to my father. I said, let him go. He said, that's exactly. See, you're not thinking. That's what they want you to do. You prove to them. Not they're gonna be changed men from this time on. Yeah. Because that was when they were in Jackson with and I was at home not too long after that. Yeah. My mother had developed a heart condition because of that stuff. See, the telephone would ring at midnight, and then they told me after Meg Evans was killed, they told my mother, your husband's next. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they told. See, that was a pact in Jackson. If anything happened to certain folk that's in that movie, then the rest of the folk would take care of, see that the families were taken care of. So that's when they called. So I was at home, and telephone rang. And Bobby Kennedy identified himself. Wow. And the mayor, Thompson, was on the other, phone. So.
Yeah, Billy Thompson.
Was it Billy Thompson?
Was it the mayor that they had the airport named after the first one. I got
right.
Thompson.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's the same one.
Okay.
So he said, we were trying to reach Reverend Haughton. I said, he's not here. Can you leave a message? No, because we're trying to find him. We got to find him quickly. I said, we needed half him. He said, so we needed half him here. And I said, well, what you mean he's in jail? I said, he's in jail. Mm-hmm. And man, but when I think I was still on, he said, I told him not to, I don't care what happened, don't arrest him. Do not arrest him. Alan Thompson. That was
Alan Thompson, that's right, Alan.
And he said, Bobby Kennedy came over. Mm-hmm. And I didn't like his language, but he said, I called down to Mississippi and they gave me this number to call. He said, I called and asked him who was the stud duck down there. That's what I didn't like. Who was the stud duck? That simply means who's really in charge. Mm-hmm. Not who they say is in charge, but who's in charge? Who would they folk listen to? And they gave me Reverend Haughton's name. He don't making a lot of noise, but he's in charge. He's the one they're gonna listen to. And they told him that certain things, man, you'd be surprised, man. They wouldn't even sell our church with a rose window. You know, rose window. They wouldn't even, we had to get that from out of state. They wouldn't even sell it to us. No contractor in Jackson would sell Pearl Street a rose window to come and put it in. But he said, that's okay, we get one. They brought it from outside. My dad was always on television, man. He went down there and said, we was trying to get black policemen, and they tell us one thing, then come out and he said, I'm not going back until I can take a tape. You know,
so you met Megan?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Charles and Megan, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I knew Charles, but I didn't.
Yeah, oh, yeah, man. Megan, I used to go down. They wouldn't let me. I used to go down. I was trying to join the movement for the lunch count thing.
Oh, okay.
And I went down there when Megan said, no, you don't have the temperament. You going to be out there fighting, and we can't have this. You know, Megan said, no, really? He said, no, and he said, you do something else because you're not gonna take this.
You know, I'm having a hard time picturing you being like that, Miss Hart.
Man, that's where I was, man.
This is the man who had me arrested.
Man, look, this guy.
And now I was the rebel. And you hear him tell these rebel stories now.
Look, look here. Let me tell you, we had a lot of music majors after state. A lot of music majors, and which means we're Mississippi, so we don't have all the stuff we ought to have. You know what I'm saying? Like over Virginia State, they putting in they had one already. They putting in a new piano lab. You understand what I'm saying? Putting in a new one now. Over there putting in, and then I got a call from the Baldwin organ company. It's all where you are a lot of times. They were gonna put in, and I don't know if anybody has this, but I know the Baldwin was gonna put in at Virginia State. Organ lab, just like piano lab.
Oh.
And they were gonna supply everything.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So it was, and we didn't have enough stuff. So the police chief said, Haughton, he said, come, he said, I got some guys here bringing a piano, rolling a piano down the street. I said, what? He said, this is not the first time. He said, I saw him at the beginning of the semester. They asked me, I asked them, where y'all going? I said, we taking this back. Taking it back? they took, let me tell you, man, these guys took, this is true, man, took a piano. There was a room over in where they had theory all across campus. The music hall was in 3 different buildings. And it was over there at the I can't
the annex. The
annex. Music annex.
What do you call it? Not the
it was an annex.
Dansby Hall Annex.
Yeah.
Dansby Annex.
Man over there, man. And he said, I saw him. He said, no. He saw him rolling the piano down the street at the beginning of the semester, right? So he saw it, but he kind of passed it off. So he said, Haughton must have this boy moving this piano. We didn't even know anything about it. They put it in a room in the dormitory. Because, see, there was never enough time for them to practice. You know, they have enough equipment.
Right.
So they just made their own private practice room. They were over there, they had a piano in the dormitory. I don't know how the dormitory folk didn't understand.
Yeah.
And the kids didn't complain. Nobody complained, man. Let me tell you, these guys had their own piano practice room. And they were when they
and Boo Boo came up there and saw it too, man.
They were bringing it back. And I said, what you mean they bringing it back? He said, man, these guys bring it. I said, man, come on. And
I know it's a lot of wind chime.
I
got to read
I
it.
never heard anything like this.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What were some of your changes that you implemented once you got here to Virginia State? What were some of the things that you've done to change?
Okay. You know, I'm kind of a funny guy about doing things for students, you know. And when I got here, when the band would travel, they'd eat hamburgers. That's all. Help. Stop.
Right. Right.
And team would be at somewhere, a restaurant, and the band would be go by McDonald's. And I hate these big guys. These big guys, big muscular guys.
Bunch of big tuba
one
players.
hamburger ain't gonna do nothing for them.
Mm-hmm.
So that means I'm paying for a double order. It's just like it costs for a meal. So so next time we went somewhere, I called ahead, find out how many restaurants. This is what I used to do, Jackson State, find out who restaurants in there. And so look, I'm bringing so many folk, so many buses. What can you do for me? What kind of deal you gonna give me on this meal? They know what I eat with you or not. Price. So they finagle the price, and it ended up being less than hamburgers. See, this is what I try to tell the coach. And so the football team started. They'd be eating at Wendy's, and we'd be at Golden Corral. And they said, "Man, how do you do this?" I said, "Man, I told you, don't accept that." See, these guys are in the 1930s. All these administrators, and they sit around here. Have you ever made a proposal to them? So I said, "Well, we don't eat at McDonald's. We don't eat, but we eat at Golden Corral. We eat at Duff's. All the different places in Baltimore, so the guy at Baltimore and Duff's in Baltimore, I called him and he said, I said, look, sir, I said, I'm calling to see about, eating meals there. I said, what kind of discounts can you give me? He said, he said, corporate headquarters in New York, and I can't give you. I said, well, you contact him, let me know what you can do. He said, okay. Then he called me and said, well, I'm just not, haven't been approved to do it. So we went on the Duffs. I was trying to get, good deal. He said, I went on the Duffs. We were sitting up there, and the guy comes up to me. I've never met him. He said, I'm trying to find Mr. Haughton. I said, and I was the youngest thing in the group. You understand what I'm talking about? But he said, I'm Haughton. He said, you Haughton? He said, well, look, corporate headquarters just told us. He said, I called him and told him that I never had a group like this. These kids in here taking care of it. They're not turning nobody off. Other, customers are satisfied. He said, and we've been authorized to give you a 10% discount. That was at Duff's in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. And see, we've had some excellent treatment, man, on the road. We had, and so we don't usually serve, bands and things. But I had some letters that I used to always take in the budget hearings. I take, whenever I go, I know we stayed at the Pentagon, Washington, all that stuff. Pentagon, Quality Inn, all those places. And we stayed in fabulous things, man, what was it? When they shut down the interstate.
What was that, Mr. Hart?
I'm trying to think. They shut down the interstate, and they wouldn't let it. Folks trying to get home. Where were we? New Haven, not New Haven. This is in Connecticut, Hartford. Okay. And they wouldn't let they wouldn't letting people off the interstate. You had to keep going. State police. Folks trying to get home, man. They wouldn't even let them in, but they let us in. And we stayed at the Holiday Inn. And this, all these stores Holiday Inn had in. And man, that's when all they was bombings and things going on.
Oh, so this is recent?
No, it wasn't recent. It was at Virginia State. It wasn't recent.
Oh.
But we were in that place, man. You wouldn't believe it. They cut out, the lights went out, man.
Oh,
all
wow.
the lights went out.
Whoa.
What happened at a restaurant, something happened across and blew all the power. Because this is the old part of the city. And they were, and they, man, it scared everybody to death. They moved us from there to another hotel.
Okay. Because
they didn't have light. Man, we had flashlights going down 14 flights of stairs, all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
We've had, but we've been treated, man. We've been treated so well, man. Other bands say it's a nightmare, but we didn't have that experience.
That's because of the leader. So you retired as the chairman of the music department.
No, it wasn't like that.
Okay.
I was asked to be chairman, and Every time I turned around, they had me doing something.
Okay.
So I didn't think I was doing as well as I could have been doing. So I wrote a letter and asked for a conference and told them, I said, look, I came here to be band director. And you're not paying me enough to be chairman. I've been chairman for 6 years. And we had gotten all our accreditations back in place, everything. And I said, I'm not here for anything. You know, I said, I came here to be band director. I'm neglecting my band. I can't do that. I said, so I'm resigning as a, June the 30th. And I said, I think I've done a pretty good job. Yeah, all you need to do this, you need to do that. See, the state, I was like a darling for the state because I got the accreditation straight. At the purchasing thing, I got them to change some things to make it better for everybody in the state, by buying some stuff. And so I had a good name at the state level. Okay. And I said, I can't do it. I'm sorry. So they thought I was joking. Shoot, June the 30th, I moved out. Man, I'm gone. And they can call me. I said, oh, there's nobody else on the telephone. I said, nobody over there. I told you all that I was. That's it for me.
They believe
and that's you. Then they, I helped them get Mark Phillips, who's at Prairie View right now. We brought him in. But it was something else, man.
So how long you been out?
Since I 19, 2003.
2003.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man. I came out, man. Cause see, and and I got what happened was the governor offered teachers. I don't know if you remember this. The governor offered teachers in Virginia, all the teachers in Virginia, those who would leave a bonus. And I was in that group. And that bonus, man, I said, you're going to, wait a minute, hold on. You're going to pay me all this money to leave?
Stop.
I'm gone. I don't mean harm, but man, I didn't, look, shoot, man, I packed my stuff. And everybody said, nope. If they're going to pay me this kind of money to leave, I'm not going to make the same kind of money to stay. I'm gone.
Got you.
I retired a year earlier than I had planned, but I had no plan. Let me tell you, man, I had recruited some of the best kids. Let me tell you, man, I had a band coming up that was going to be, it was like that band I left when I left Jackson. No, when I was at Jackson State, we had with the fam. So we were the only band other than Florida A&M to get a standing ovation in that stadium, Bragg Stadium in Tallahassee. And when we got through, man, it was something else. Man. Then we went on to the Saints the next day at New Orleans and performed.
That was the only regret that I had out of my career, that we didn't. Florida State, we didn't play Florida State.
Oh yeah.
That happened later on. They came in later after we left. We didn't play Tennessee State.
Right.
So
but I've had some exceptional kind of experiences with the Jackson State band. Then we got up here, they were doing stuff that they didn't do in the Deep South. I didn't know that a lot of the bands, you hear on television, they're amplified. I didn't know that the microphones are placed around the perimeter of the football, the field. And I kept hearing, we were playing, started the show, and I kept hearing, and I said, that's not us. And the guy said, man, cut it off. Cut, what do you mean, cut it off? I don't need this. And the guy looked at me and said, what? I said, man, look, Howard, I said, man, Howard may need, but I don't need this, man. Cut these microphones off. I said, because my band is off. Because only the folk that's in front of these microphones are being heard. I said, that's not the way we sound. So they cut it off. And boy, that was when Howard never recovered from that. You know what I'm saying? Because see, we were doing things a little different. We came and cut off the microphone. And it was different, man. But Virginia has been good for me because there were so many, up this way, there's so many different contacts things. New York is not that far away.
Right. Right.
You know, like Fish took his Haughton took his band to Madison Square Garden. His pep band. And the guy was on the radio talking about this is the best pep band he's ever heard. Now this is a little band from Virginia State, but they were playing on. Let me tell you, they deserved it not because they were smoking. And see, they had all the arrangements from Prof and James's arrangements and other arrangements.
Yeah.
And they sounded totally different from everybody else. That's what it was. Plus, the repertoire they were playing was up to date. See, that's another thing. So it was, but I've been blessed, man. Let me tell you.
Yeah, you are.
I have been blessed that folk won't believe what the good things that have happened to me. And I met some nice folk. You know, the guys from over the VCU. I can't think of the band director's name, the concert band. I had some, I had white students. And we used to go, the state, Virginia had something that Mississippi didn't have. They used to have all these, they had a contest.
Terry Austin?
You know, to band things and to bring all the composers from all over the world and go to VCU. And they have, and I mean, I'm talking about major band composers.
All right.
They come to over to VCU and they would have, and they had these guests, they would come and conduct these bands on their music. It was nice, man.
Oh, man, yeah.
But it was concert music. And that was the year that I had first chair flute player. They thought I was joking when I told them I had the best flute player out of all these bands. And making them do me who was. And she ended up playing with Petersburg Symphony.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I have a lot of kids in the symphony. Petersburg, they excellent players. But the thing about it is that there's a lot more exposure to what happens. Like Richmond Gibbon had his jazz program. It didn't have no jazz thing in Mississippi, man. I'm not trying,
No, I would.
You understand what I'm saying?
I
It
do.
didn't have that. The talent is there. It's the same. It's the
Now,
talent.
I do tell you where I do. Opera South.
Yeah. Oh man, look.
Now that was something I think we had ahead of our time.
Look, let me tell you, that was it. And people didn't believe that they thought they were talking about Jackson State, Jacksonville State. It was Jackson State they were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
See, Jackson State was winning all that. In New York, they had a thing, the Harmonium Music Festival, that's what it was. Harmonium Music Clubs all over the country. And Jackson State was the one who was winning all that stuff. The Mississippi Jackson State.
Yes, sir.
And it was, see, Xavier, here is the thing. New Orleans is supposed to be Louisiana is supposed to be the mecca for all black music, classical music.
Any other thoughts you got for me on the band, on Wind Chimes? Any remembrances of things that funny?
Well,
crazy?
Let me tell you, look, I don't know how funny this is, but were you in the band who went to Cincinnati?
No, we came the year, we were the next year.
Okay, let me tell you.
You played that film for us. That was the first film we saw with
Man,
Cincinnati.
Look, you talking about somebody having a heart attack. That's when I realized that's when Frank Greer of Tennessee State told me, he said, "Oh, you got a special group of kids. He said, you got a special band." And I'm not talking about this band, but the band program at Jackson State is something else. And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "We got to Cincinnati, and we got turned around by some traffic things. And so, see, the NFL is very programmed. Everything works by seconds, minutes, and seconds, not hours, but minutes and seconds. They told us that we got what happened. Our bus driver didn't know what the hell they were doing. So we got to the stadium, Riverside Stadium in Cincinnati, late. And they had added punt, pass, and kick.
You're right.
That national contest had for kids. But they hadn't told us about it. And which means that took up any extra time was gone. And that was the first time I saw the size of these doggone NFL players. Man, I ain't never been that close to them. Good Lord above. Them guys were so big, man. So we came on the field, and we couldn't get in place. See, I have all this stuff designed. I designed. I thought I'd do a thing. I had, I was gonna put sensing on the field to get to the folk, and I put CIN. And see, you can't tell it's coming 3 seconds before it hits. You can't tell it. All of a sudden it's there. Where it came from, nobody knows.
Out of a ball of confusion.
Yeah, CIN. So then on the other side, the end, that bar, crossbar, the bottom part and the NCY was over here.
Okay.
But they wouldn't let us go. We had to go around. See, Cincinnati is tight. End zones are kind of tight to the fences. Mm-hmm. And they wouldn't let us, because we weren't on the clock. And they wouldn't let us, we couldn't get around to get in place. Okay. Oh, man, that's, we on national television. We were the ones selected for the national, be the band that performed for the national, you know. It was the Oakland Raiders and the Cincinnati Bengals. That was the national football game that day. Man, I said, look, I don't know what to do, man. Well, I've done all I can do. So I got out and I had my head down. And Duplessis said, Haughton, look up. I'm not looking at that mess. I said, I don't want to see that, man. He said, man, you look up, because you're not going to believe what you're going to see. I looked up, man, and the band was together, just like I had programmed. I said, what do you mean? How do they do this? And so what happened was, I got out, man. The kids in the band told me what. I said, what? How did y'all do? Y'all weren't in the right place at Wisconsin when we were marking time after we got on the field. We decided that we had practiced and we knew what you had us to do, and said the band is in four in a squad. We designed, so they designated somebody who make sure they knew everything. One kid in the squad called out the assignments while the rest of them played. And he said, all we did was change the assignment. What's your number? So the squad from different sides of the field changed assignments. And they did the assignment that the other group was doing. And man, looking. And the guy said, from Tennessee State, said, what are you complaining? What's wrong, man? Why are you disturbed? He said, hell, ain't nobody said. Then I told the guy from Cincinnati, he said, oh, let me tell you, I had the best arrangement. He said, the only thing that was out of line, and we couldn't do anything about that, was that CINCY. But the nation didn't see that. I said, what do you mean? He said, look, let me tell you, I had the best engineers in the country. Said, them guys took that in and moved it electronically, put it together electronically. Said it was fine. Said the nation, all they saw was CINCY. And that was the thing then, but the biggest disappointment I had was the Los Angeles. We were supposed to go to LA play. And the guy called me from, he used to be at New Orleans. Barry Butcher was his name, I think. Burchett, okay. He went to LA to be the program director. So he called me and said, Haughton, he said, look, can y'all come out here? I said, no, I don't have the kind of money to go. He said, I'm going to ask you, did you have the money to come? I want to know, can you all come? I said, yeah. So I never will forget this. Paul Purdy was over the finance. And you know what the attitude was? They got that kind of money, they can give that to the school. I said, what? I said, y'all don't understand. That's where you get money. You get money by that. It's not costing us a dime. But they thought it was unfair. The school, the Alumni Association in LA should have given that money to the school rather than, bring us to LA. And Barrett said to me, he said, you sure you're not coming? I said, no. They won't let me come. He said, well, let me tell you something. So y'all missed a golden opportunity. So let me tell you what was going to He said the people in uh, the people in L.A. all the alumni said, "You got a lot of alumni out here." Said alumni, and people from Mississippi, people from all over, folks who have nothing to do with Jackson State. Found out what they were doing. Hollywood stars said they've already paid for this trip, and they were going to present Jackson State at halftime with a $60,000 check.
And they didn't go.
They didn't. We didn't. They wouldn't let us go, and they didn't get the money either.
Oh man!
So the
And
Hollywood stars, man, paid for us to come, for them to bring us to L.A. And they at halftime. He said, "Man, do you realize what happened?" He said, "People follow leads." He said, "People would have given to Jackson State who never thought about giving before."
Mhm.
But he said, "But they blew the golden opportunity, man. Yo, but you couldn't if you had $20 million, you couldn't have bought this kind of publicity."
Mm-mm.
And they, I'm telling you, and it was a long time before, man, before the L.A. alumni got back in good stead with, before the L.A. alumni wrote Jackson State off for a long time, man. That was the thing that really bothered me, and that thing about that we couldn't go and represent the state of Mississippi in Carter's inauguration.
Oh, that was. Oh, that
Man,
was.
that thing was a mess.
That was. They chose us. They chose Jackson State
For Carter's
the white-
inauguration.
for Carter's
Yeah, for
inauguration.
Carter's
When the
inauguration.
white folks.
70.
Oh, Carter's 80.
Oh yeah, 1980.
So when the white legislatures found out that they had asked Mississippi to go represent the state of Mississippi, they went off.
Wow.
They went
Yeah.
off. So they,
It was something, man. We were in D.C. and the white boys tried to be slick. The white band directors. First place, they want to tell me about what they're gonna play. I said, "You don't want to say. I'm a co-band director with this band. There's only two of us. Band directors, band director from Mississippi State University and me." And I said, "Look, we're gonna play from Born Free." Davis wrote a range from Born Free for me. I said, "Davis, I want to write a range for me,
Wow.
Born Free." Man, look, let me tell you, it was awesome. I have a copy of that,
okay.
and the band played. Man, they did it for we played at Virginia State for the inauguration of the governor here, and Belials, Governor Belials, and but let me tell you, it was a mess. All along, the white boys said they tried to figure out where the reviewing stand was, and they put all the black band directors from Mississippi Valley, Alcorn, and me on the side where they thought the reviewing stand was not going to be, but they got it mixed up. The black band directors ended up being on the side where the president was, in the viewing stand. So President Carter saluted me and I saluted him. And man, look. And all along that route, man, from the time we started that parade and went down Pennsylvania, all you could hear, man, was back. I don't know where they were planted. was hey, Jackson State. Now, see, the band was mixed up of all the bands in Mississippi, kind of, but they didn't mention not one. Only band that was mentioned in that parade, and from the crowd and stuff, was Jackson State. Man, it was a mess. Man, look at, and that's when I felt really good. Yeah, this is the thing. You asked me about something. I've forgotten about this until I mentioned this. When after the parade, was over and everything kind of settled down. I played in a band, a big dance band that with Jack Jones. Me and Prop played in that band. From I played baritone saxophone from when at the Coliseum. They had the inaugural dance. And the governor came out too when I told him I wasn't going. But they said, I said, "You do what you want to do. I'm not going to D.C." You took the band the opportunity for my band. My band is here. They came from all over the country, and we're here. And now you're gonna tell me that we can't go? I told him I'm not going. And we were in the governor's mansion, and he was talking about what I misunderstood, and I moved my chair back. You know how you move your chair back?
Mhm.
I was sitting at the table not too far from him, from the governor, and I said to the guy next to me, if he tells this lie one more time, I'm standing up, and I put my chair back, and he stood. He said, Governor, no, I said, no, Governor, you need to come right now. So we went in the back, and I told him how I'm disappointed. I said, I'm disappointed in you. I said, black folk put you never would have been governor in Mississippi if the black folk hadn't voted for you. He looked at me. He said somewhere around Tupelo up there. And I said, black folk voted for you because you had, don't care what your dealings were, you had a reputation of being fair. But that's not what we're seeing now. I said, I brought my kids here all over, now you're going to tell me I can't go. Hell, they could have stayed at home. And I said, this is not right. I said, you tell me if I play the game by the rules, this is going to be all right. It's not all right. Mm-hmm. I said, I'm tired of being mistreated in Mississippi. So he said, well, I want to come out. I said, you don't need to come out to Jackson State because I can't control the kids out there. You over there talking about band can't go. And I said, I said, I don't think you ought to go. But he was the governor of Mississippi, and I'm telling him he can't come out there. He said, I'll be fine. So he came out to Jackson State. And had state police all around it. Man, you had to see this. It looked like they were taking over. Nobody was the governor, but he came on and the band was sitting there. I told the band, I said, if anybody disrespects the governor in his office, you're out of here. Don't even come. You can't even come in the band room. I said, do you understand me? You can. I said, I know how you feel, but that has nothing to do with being cordial. So he came and he said, your band director told me not to come over here. he said, but you know something? He said, I met a real man yesterday. He said, he talked to me about, and he said, nobody ever would have said what he said to me. He said, he was respectful, but he told me how he felt. He told me how he really felt about what we, and he said, he was right. He said, I tell you what. He said, he told me about how, people been mistreated, how they had worked hard, and the band was wouldn't read. And he said, and he's telling the truth, that how we selected Jackson State to go long before anybody knew anything about it. We went to Meridian. He was trying to build support. But the folk in Gulfport blew the thing. Mm-hmm. We went to places most bands had never been at the governor's expenses. We went and we went to like Meridian. Mm-hmm. Meridian was a stronghold of the Klan. Mm-hmm. Laura and all that stuff. So we went in there, man, and turned that place out. So we had support of all that area. So when it was time to select somebody to go, that was not supposed to be a problem. Except they forgot about the folk down in Biloxi. The folk in Biloxi said that high school band ought to go. They had already been one time. And I went back off. So I said, okay, don't worry about it. It's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. But man, look, he came out there and talked to those kids. He said, your band director talked to me like a man. He said, and I respect that. That's good. And he said, now, what we going to do? He said, but it's sort of out of my hands. He said, if I push Jackson State on this state, I'm dead politically. He was right. He wasn't lying.
No, I remember that.
He said, man, I'm asking him, he said he's not going. I'm asking him to go because not only would it save, he said, I can do some things if I'm in office. I can't do things when I'm not in office. He said, but I can do things if I'm in office, and I can't do otherwise. What do y'all want? He asked me first. I said, in the first place, we need a place where we can all meet. That is, everybody has a place but us to meet, where our student body can meet at one time. You know, he said, what? I said, yeah. I said, I know most folks don't realize that. Here's Delta State down in Cleveland, Mississippi, who's half our size, and they have a coliseum. We have a gymnasium. He said, write that down. Done. So he said, and so the kids said, what about you all? He said, well, let me, he said, the one guy said, Mr. Governor, said, why is it that the band director from Mississippi State is over this band? How did you select him? Remember? He said, well, we think we had the best band director. Why isn't he over? He said, well, we're going to have co-band done right there. And he went, you know, it was strange, man, how he went on so quick. Then we finally got things straight. So that's how I ended up being co-director of the band. Okay. And some of the guys knew me. You know, the guys, I was black, so I wasn't supposed to know what I was doing. That was it. But some of the white guys I knew because they worked in schools where they had black and white band directors, you know, co-band directors. And so I went. So I got, you know, everything went well. We practiced at the Mississippi State, you know, fairground.
Right.
And I was in there one day. We were playing Christian music, and I'm looking at the score, and there's some horn players playing the music wrong. Right? They knew what they were doing because they were too precise in what they were doing to just be a mistake. So I cut the band up. I said, look, I thought that they sent the best representatives, supposed to send the best representatives here for this band. Yeah, I did. I said, and I didn't think the music was that difficult, but it seemed to be too hard for some of you to play correctly. I said, now here's this whole big band representing the whole state. I said, you two guys right here, don't you play? You just act like you playing. and you know, and don't play, of course. I said, but you playing the wrong notes. I said, I don't know whether it's because you don't play that well, don't know, which, you know, it got real quiet. So the same guy said, we got it straight now. You know what I'm saying? So they played, look man, guys played, and then we never had that problem again. Because I don't know what they thought I couldn't hear, or didn't know the score, or what the hell was going on. I told them, and it wasn't my piece of music. It was thing Gap in Southern Mississippi brought in. I said, that's not supposed to on the page what you playing. I said, but don't worry about it. We'll you know, just don't play.
Yes, sir.
And look, and those guys, man, you might think I'm joking. Those guys brought me a fifth of liquor down to my room. And I said, where y'all get here?
Yeah.
I said, well, y'all were told when you get, don't be buying it. He said, we bought this with us.
And see, Mississippi, that time, he had dry county. You know, everywhere you couldn't
Man,
just
I'm
get
saying,
liquor, man.
What in the world? So they told us don't do it. Look, man. And but so after that, we were playing at the band. We was Coliseum. Playing baritone saxophone. And the first dance is the governor. Then everybody else joins. So, right. So about halfway through the dance, the governor stopped dancing. And it was his wife, and he was coming toward the bandstand. And we were all saying, "What the hell is he doing?" And the closest he got, he was coming straight to me. I said, "Man, what is it now?" So he said, and he came up, and when the band got through playing, he said, "Baby, I want you to meet somebody." And we told his wife, "I want you to meet a real man." He said, "So you must Haughton know it."
She had told him.
He said, I just want to say that, she said, my husband told me about you. He said, glad to have you aboard. Look, and man, let me tell you. And the white guys in the band said, man, what the hell?
I said, who is this?
He came right to me and said, and came and shook my hand. But them guys were done, man. Like I said, man, I don't believe this. But anyway, he said, anything you need now, let me, you know, I used to go to Coliseum and sing.
Is that winter?
You know, when they had
yeah. Okay.
I used to go down there and sing. They paid me to come to the Coliseum. That's all. I took a tape. They put the tape on that.
And you sang with the tape?
It was crazy, man. In Mississippi now.
Yeah.
They didn't need me singing on that, but I met a guy at the Secretary of Agriculture. See, Now, you know, since you're not involved, you're not supposed to know this. I mean, so when I got the Secretary of Agriculture of the state of Mississippi, the guy offered me a job. This is the mafia to open a store in Jackson. It was supposed to be a front for whatever else. I don't know. But I told him, nope, I'm not doing that. I said, because I had to do what I think of you. Because, see, if I tell you, they're going to pay me $35,000 a year in Mississippi a long time ago. All I had to do was go down there every day. That's all I
That's
had
all
to
you
do.
had to do.
And unlock the store and lock it. That's all I had to do.
Be a front.
Yes, sir. Be a front.
That's
And
it.
the guy told me, he said, when I got here, he said, they told me you're going to turn me down. You know, the guy told me, I said, I can't do this. I said, because I have to be my own man. I can't have you telling me I need to do this. And I said, I can't do it. And then I'm gone. You know, I told him like that. And he said, but when I was in there, this guy comes in. And boy, the carpet was this thick, man. You hear me? It was a little storefront thing like out on Highway 80.
Okay.
It was, and there's no way you would have thought this building was like this on the inside.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
He walked in. He said, Haughton, they said, hey, how you doing? I said, I've seen you before. He said, they understand you sing. Yeah, I said, yeah. He said, well, why don't you come down to we need somebody on a regular basis to form the national anthem, so we have to keep looking for folk, auditioning folk and all that stuff. He said, I forgot how much they paid me, but anyway, all I do was go down and to the Coliseum, sing the national anthem, don't care what they had down there, like that, and leave.
And leave.
It was crazy.
Get out of here.
Mississippi, man. And the guy
That's the way
told me, but you know how I lost that job? He called, and they told me, we're going to call you now. Sometimes we can't call like 3 and 4 days ahead. I said, okay, that's cool. And I forgot to tell the secretary. And she said, no, he's doing so-and-so, so-and-so. But they had to get somebody else. They didn't fire me, but they had to get somebody else. And they had to go back to that old way of selecting. And I apologized to the guy. He said, don't worry about it. He said, we figured like something like that. I never got the message that I was supposed to be down there singing. All I do is go in and sing 2.5 minutes, and I'm gone.
Say, can you see?
Yeah.
Mr. Haughton, it has been a pleasure for everybody on Chimes Land and anywhere else. You have just witnessed a legend here sitting with us and giving us the history of his story and where we came together and how it is now that we can celebrate Mr. Harold Haughton together. So thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you for inviting me.
And we are looking forward to doing some more. Hopefully this will be a series. We can get some more and finish up some other things that he didn't tell, some other secrets that we know he knows where the bodies are buried. God bless you, Mr. Haughton.
Thank you, sir. I'm very proud of you and everything you've done. And
thank you, man.
You've accomplished it.
Thank you, brother.
You know, I claim you all the time. Like I had something to do with you.
You did. We'll get to that story next, all right?
Okay.
Amen.